guys, welcome to the video. Thanks for joining today. Today I'm going to do my race report on the Badger 100 miler that I did this past weekend that started in Orangeville, Illinois and ended in Belleville, Wisconsin. Decided to do the Badger this year because I had several friends going. I think there ended up being 12 of us from the Dallas Dirt Runners from the North Texas region that went up and did it, so it was a lot of fun. We had camaraderie and new people up there. Also, it was put on by 10 Junk Miles Racing that also has the podcast 10 Junk Miles. Scotty Coomer and his wife are the race directors. I have listened to Scotty and 10 Junk Miles podcast for several years, and I've heard him talk about the race. It also met some criteria that helped for a slower, older guy like me, and that it was a flatter course. It's a rails to trails course. Had a lot of aid on this course, and you had a 36-hour time limit. Okay guys, so in our race packet we received a bag like this. It had our race number, and we got a little 10 Junk Miles. I guess this would be a fanny pack or pack you'd put on your waist. Anyway, nice. Then we got a shirt, and it was specific to the race you were doing. So if you were doing the Muskie Marathon or I forget what the 50 miler was called, it was specific to that. But I got the one that says Badger 100 mile. We also got a pair of 10 Junk Miles socks, very nice. And they gave us a belt at the time. You had to measure and pick your size, and you got a belt. It's a belt that allowed you to put your buckle on if you were able to earn the buckle. So this was the belt I received. It's a nice leather belt. I went into it feeling a little undertrained, partly because it's been so hot and humid here in North Texas that I feel like my training's been a little bit short of the mark. But I was hopeful, and I went up there, and it turned out we had a fairly hot couple days, cooler than Texas, as we kept saying, but it was still getting up around 90 degrees both on Saturday and Sunday, and the heat did affect things a bit. So, but it was a beautiful course, mostly flat rails to trails. There's one, you run about every 10 miles, there's a major aid station, and usually there's one in between, approximately 4 to 7 miles into each one. There's a non-crew aid station, one that you can't get crew in, and most of them were manned, but not all of them through the middle. But the major aid stations every 10 miles or so had full crew, full support, often a lot to eat, very well supported. A great job was done on the race. Like I said, it was mostly the rails to trails. There was a little section. Your first 10 miles you ran from Orangeville, Illinois up to Monroe, Wisconsin. Shortly after that major aid station, you did hit a little road section, and then you were back on the trails again. Your second major aid station was Monticello, which was 20 miles in. That was a nice aid station. There was a section right after that where you seemed to get eaten up by mosquitoes. For a couple miles. Got attacked quite a bit even the first morning by mosquitoes. It was much worse when I came back and it was evening time, but that was really the only issues there. After you get through Monticello, you have a 10-mile section to go up to Belleville. Now that's the part that you're running 3 or 4 miles on the trail that's beautiful, but then you have to pop out, and there's normally a big tunnel that you run through at this course, but it's been closed the last few years, and apparently it's going to be closed until 2026 from what I'm reading now. So they had to divert the course, and they put us back on some road running that probably was 3 or 4 miles of road running, and it was very hilly. That's really the only place on the course that there were hills of any significance. I ended up with about 2,200 feet of gain on my Garmin watch for the race, but most of it was all in that little section. And then you pop back off that hill, and you have a flat, another 3.8 miles or so to the to Belleville, which is also where we finished. But the first time out, you go through Belleville, and then you go run another 4.5 miles or so to Dot's Tavern, which is the furthest port on the course. You turn around and head back from Dot's Tavern back to Belleville, and then you reverse. You go through Monticello, through Monroe, down to Orangeville, and then you repeat back from Orangeville to Monroe to Monticello, and then to Belleville to finish. Anyway, it was extremely well supported. Really enjoyed it. I believe I counted that there were 12 of us from North Texas. I have a picture here. I think there's only 9 of us in it. It's missing Lisa and John and Kay, but other than that, I thought I would show a picture.
Not getting hit by cars. So filling up your gas tank on your way out. And if all else fails, and you can't find any other way to give back, get a speeding ticket. All right. Any other questions? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to walk down to the covered bridge, and then Dusty Olson over there, raise your hand, Dusty. Mountain Coast shoes, greatest pacer in the history of pacers. It's going to be your starter for the 100 miles. So let's all walk down there and
How's it going?
get ready to rock and roll.
Good. Good to see you. Good to see you too.
All right, we got.
Funny, the fog doesn't translate the same.
Show off. Yeah.
We're getting to the race start.
Do you feel all this stuff coming up on the back of your legs?
Do you guys agree to be part of the ultra?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Go Jay,
The old
go
ultra
Jay.
runner.
Yeah. Peg had gators.
Yeah, that's
Something
smart.
about it. Yeah.
Darren has, I think, high socks, and then he has those compressions, and he's
Yeah. Okay, here's our little covered bridge and our start. A little bit of.
You got this. You're gonna be great. There's Jess.
How you feeling? Good. Good.
Oh my
Left,
goodness.
left the roll.
Yeah, because I think
Oh my gosh, how's it going? Good. Okay, very good. Excellent.
Yeah, you must be near Orangeville yesterday.
I took care of all the spice.
Okay, we need a. Jay, we need. Welcome to another video.
Welcome to another video.
What are you
We're at the
doing?
Badger 100.
Okay. John, you ready for this?
No, I'm not.
Do you give your consent to be part of the old ultra runner?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's
All
my
right.
favorite podcast.
All right, Jay, I'll go get you a cool video running through the thing. All right, and we're off.
They said sprint.
See you in a couple of days. Go! You got this! You got this! All right, guys, go! All right, here it comes. All right, turn it off.
Okay, guys, so we're about just 4.5 miles in. Feeling good so far. Fairly humid, but it is a beautiful trail.
all in.
Okay, so I'm about mile 12 and a half. Made it through the Monroe aid station just past mile 10. refilled nutrition, and I just went over, I think what's the main, there's a little road section we just did, but done with that, and we're back on the pretty trail. So it's nice, and most of it's been double wide. There are places where it's only single wide, but most of it's double wide, and really nice soft surface, not much to trip on or anything, so good so far.
Okay, as the race started, I wanted to start out conservatively, but as usual, I usually start too fast. I was doing run 2 minutes, walk 1 minute. I figured that would keep my pace a little bit slower. I felt really good the first 20 miles. I think we started off in the low 70s for temperature, but it did heat up. And my plan was at each of those major aid stations, Orangeville, Monroe, Monticello, and Belleville, I had drop bags go out, and I just basically left nutrition at each one, except at the 20-mile mark for Monticello. I dropped a sun shirt and a sun hat because I knew it was going to start getting hot. So when I got to 20, I stopped and I put on my sun shirt and sun hat, and I was getting hot. So I decided I was just going to walk a good while it was hot. I thought I might even walk all the way till evening time.
Okay guys, so I'm about 26.2 miles in, close to 6 hours, which is a pretty good pace for me, but I have definitely slowed down. I'm struggling in the heat, just like I have been the last few years. Not shocked by that. So I'm pretty much just right now trying to walk a consistent pace, and we'll probably do that for the next several hours, and then hoping when it cools down this evening I'll be able to run more. Anyway, we're actually on a bit of a road section right now. There isn't much of this on this course, but this is like our second bit of road. So anyway, still kind of out in the country, so not much traffic or anything, so it's not bad.
So I was walking, I was still keeping up a real good pace. I got to mile 30. I saw my wife in Belleville.
So we are at mile 35, Dots Tavern, the high point of the course. So we started in Orangeville, we ran up to Dots Tavern, so we're about 35 miles in. Now we turn around and go back all the way to Orangeville, and we'll be at mile 70, and then we'll come back up for 30 miles to Belleville to finish the race. Anyway, I'm really struggling in the heat, but little 8 hours and 50 minutes in.
I got to mile 35 at Dots Tavern. There I had my first feel of a blister on my foot, and I ended up taking off my shoes, and I found a couple little rocks. I removed those, I put some trail toes on my foot, and I was able to continue on. I was actually feeling pretty good. I was walking with Ben from our group quite a bit in some of these miles. I got to mile 39 back at Belleville. My wife got me to sit down for a few minutes and eat. Well, this was kind of a little bit of a turning point in the race for me, because I sat down for a little bit, and when I stood up, my back spasmed really bad. I couldn't really take a step for a minute, and then I was just able to walk real slowly. It did warm up as time went on, but from that point, for the next many miles, if I ever tried to run, it would spasm up again, and so I really wasn't able to run.
Okay guys, I'm 12 hours and 56 minutes in, almost 13 hours. On my watch, I'm at 49.6 miles. I should be getting to the Monticello aid station very soon. I basically have kind of fallen apart in the heat, and I'm mostly walking, but I'm still walking at a pretty good clip, so still got a good chance to finish. Anyway, that's the update.
Our plan was for nighttime. My wife was going to meet me at probably mile 50 or 60 and give me my stuff for the nighttime. I ended up being a little slower than anticipated, so I called her, and she ended up meeting me at mile 50. I think it was 6:30 p.m. It was dark by 8 or 8:30. If I had been going better, I would have been at 60. So I was at mile 50. She met me and brought me my headlight. I primarily used a waist light. I went ahead and switched hats. I switched to a short sleeve shirt, and I went to using a pack with a water bladder. I thought that I was going to be longer between aid stations during the night, so I wanted to make sure I had plenty of water to last me between aid stations. So I was walking. When I got to mile 60, I started feeling a little discouraged. I wasn't sure I really wanted to walk another 40 miles. So I was thinking about quitting, but my wife's like, everybody was saying, well, you're still moving well, you're still walking well, keep going, you got plenty of time. So I did, and I told my wife at that point, it was sometime around midnight, I told her, well, just plan on meeting me not at mile 70 in Orangeville, but meet me back at Monroe for mile 80. That way I'm not tempted to quit at Orangeville. So I went on, I walked on down to mile 70 at Orangeville. Enjoyed that aid station a lot. They had good food. Got to visit with some people. Left there and realized, and my watch was saying I was at mile 73. I think I was officially just a little over 70 or 71. But I tried running again, and the pain in my back, it didn't spasm. I was able to run a good 3 or 4 miles, felt really good. But then just this wave of exhaustion came over me. It was like, what was it, 4 a.m. or something, and I could not shake it. I started walking, and then I started staggering, and I was out there on the trail by myself. There was no one in front of me or behind me that I could even see a headlight for a good bit of time. I ended up calling my wife and telling her when I see her at mile 80 I was probably going to drop, and she told me, well, she didn't come all this way from Texas to do this race for me not to come home with a buckle, and I still had lots of time, and she suggested when I get to mile 80 that I take a nap at Monroe. So I got there, and as I got there I decided that was a good idea. So I got to Monroe. She opened up the back of the rental car we had. It was a small SUV, cleared it all out and made a place for me, and I took like a 2-hour nap. It was like a two and a half hour aid station stop for me. So at that time it threw out even me having a shot at breaking 30 hours or anything, but I figured she was right. I had time to finish. I got up. I was really very concerned just because of how bad I was when I laid down. So I actually got my new hiking poles that I bought. I really bought those just because I've had history in the past of getting to where I lean real bad a few times. So I brought them just in case of that. But I really wasn't leaning, but I was just concerned because I was so wobbly from mile 75 to 80. So I took off with those from mile 80 to 90. And then once it became daylight, it was actually when I took my long 2.5 hour break. I went ahead and switched back to a short sleeve shirt. No, I stayed in my short sleeve shirt from the night. But I went back to wearing my waist pack and just carrying a water bottle. And I got rid of the headlamps. So the last 20 miles were without headlights. I actually got to where I was feeling pretty good walking. I was moving at a pretty good clip. I got to mile 90 and most of the DDR support was there. There were a few DDR folks that had dropped out of the race that cheered me on, and then there were some crew members for other DDR members running that were there, and they gave me a lot of a pep talk and a lot of cheering on. I drank a shot of Fireball, gave them my poles and told them I didn't need them, and I took off. So I was heading from Monticello up to Belleville for the finish. I actually took off and I was running. I probably ran for 3 or 4 miles. Felt pretty good. It was a pretty slow pace, but I was running, still interspersing some walks, but mostly running. And then I hit that road section. It was real hilly, and it was super exposed, so it was very hot by that time. It was probably over 90 degrees. So I mostly walked that hilly road section. And once I finished that, I only had 3.8 miles to go, and it was nice nice trail section. I probably could have run, but at that point I just decided, well, why risk doing it and blowing up? I've only got less than 4 miles to go, and even if I walk it all, it's only going to cost me maybe 10 minutes. So I walked it all in until I got right near the finish line, and then I ran across the finish line. So my total time was 32 hours and 47 minutes, which was a good bit slower than I anticipated, but it was a very good time. I had a lot of fun seeing people. I got my belt buckle. Anyway,